All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well. We've got some past coverage numbers to look at. I'll be streaming with the Hawks Nest in a few hours here. Stream starts at about noon. We're going to talk about the Buccaneers game that was, and we're going to talk about the Jaguars game that hopefully will be. So definitely tune in for that. Also, many more videos coming later today on assorted topics, but we got to do our past coverage. Obviously, this is not going to be a good week because Baker Mayfield tore us up. There were very few incomplete passes from Baker Mayfield in that game. And a lot of the guys on defense are partially to blame for that. I mean, you don't have a game like that without something going very, very wrong in your pass coverage. So we've got some unfortunate data to take a look at here today. But before we get to all that, let's take 60 seconds to talk about the sponsor. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, so linebackers. One thing that I noted when we looked at PFF a couple days ago was that they really, really punished Ernest Jones. Well, Pro Football Reference didn't quite have it as bad. It was still bad, but they didn't think that the stuff that PFF put on Ernest Jones's head was necessarily valid. I believe they gave him 3 targets, 3 completions for about, yes, almost 60 yards, 57 yards. PFF did far worse. Now, it's not good either way, but I do get the sense that this is a little bit more of an accurate reflection of the game he had. And overall, Ernest Jones is still doing pretty well in coverage. He's got 2 interceptions on the year, 59 QB rating when targeted. For a player like Ernest Jones, who we know, I think we all know coverage is not Ernest Jones's strong suit. This is not bad. Tyrese Knight, on the other hand, according to PFR, got completely blown up in this game. It was very, very bad and maybe even untenable. I think it was 4 completions on 4 targets for a grand total of 75 yards. So they gave him a little bit more than PFF did. Again, it's mostly yak, but that's going to be standard for a linebacker. And 16 for 16, 198 yards. We're getting into Jordan Brooks. I mean, this is honestly probably worse than Jordan Brooks. This might be beyond Jordan Brooks. 118 QB rating when targeted. The problem is the guy you have in-house to kind of take some of the pressure off of Tyrese Knight, kind of reduce the Tyrese Knight problem, is Drake Thomas. And Drake Thomas, yeah, technically he's doing better in coverage, but is he doing great? I don't think so. 11 targets, 10 completions, 62 yards. That's certainly better. It was only 12 yards in this game. So that's fine. But you give up so much in the other areas of playing linebacker that I'm hard-pressed to say that it's worth it. So they're caught in a bad spot right now, and Tyrese Knight just needs to either get better or they need to get another player, because I think that Drake Thomas, I think there's just a very low ceiling there. 90.2 QB rating when targeted, which is fine, I guess, but I don't know, guys. I'm really disappointed that this Tyrese Knight thing is spinning out this way. I'm hoping that things get better soon, but if they don't, we might have to call an audible here. Okay, edge rusher. The only target we had in this game on an edge rusher was Boye Mafe. He got targeted once in this game. 17 yards on a completion. So it was a screen pass. It's behind the line, and it was a big run after the catch, which obviously you can put that on Mafe. You can also put it on a bunch of other players that allow the big yards after the catch. So I'm not a big fan of using target data and pass coverage data to evaluate edge rushers unless they're in coverage constantly. So I'm not saying there's anything to really learn here, but this is the data. Cornerback, cornerback, cornerback. Witherspoon did not play, so there's nothing new here. Woolen, however, this is interesting. PFR gave him a lot more damage than PFF. So, Reek Woolen, I believe they gave him, 3 targets, 3 completions for a total of 38 yards, which isn't the worst in the world, but it's not up to Reek Woolen's standard. And bottom line is, we're 5 games in, 190 yards allowed in coverage according to PFR, if that number is accurate, and I think it pretty much is. That's not what we signed up for. 111 QB rating when targeted. And unlike Witherspoon, who I think is kind of getting a little unlucky, Woolen, it's more. Now, I will say, again, the obvious. If you watched the rest of that game after Woolen got hurt, he's clearly better than anybody else we have. So we're stuck with it. We're hoping that he can snap out of it and start making some plays, but I don't know. It's like after Disney bought Star Wars and they made their Star Wars sequel trilogy, and then some people come out and say, oh, well, the prequels don't look so bad now, huh? The prequels actually look good. It's like, no. The Star Wars sequels not being very good didn't make the prequels better retroactively. The prequels are still what they were when they came out. And that's how I feel about Reek Woolen right now. Nehemiah Pritchett being really terrible doesn't make Woolen's play so far this year good. Josh Jobe, what do we have here? 4 targets. I think it was, 3 completions. So he did force 1 incompletion. That's good. But he got completely destroyed on the completions they gave him, over 100 yards. So they gave him the 57-yarder to Egbuka, and they gave him a couple other big plays. So the new car smell is off of Josh Jobe. He started the season out great. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I don't think that he is. But you're seeing the downside here. At the end of the day, Josh Jobe is a limited player, and you can't lean on Josh Jobe to be a star for you week in, week out. Some days he's going to be good, some days he's going to be bad. That's why you need guys like Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon to be out there and playing at a high level so that you can afford that. Still, QB rating when targeted is very good, but he's riding the coattails of an early season, really, really strong start. And we're not seeing the we're not seeing the same level of play over the last few weeks. Darion Kendrick, his raw numbers were not that bad. He got targeted 3 times, allowed 3 completions for a total of 14 yards. That's fine. But there were a couple plays in this game where you see the limitations regardless. And it was a keen reminder that he's good depth to have around. I appreciate the work he's doing. But he is not somebody that we can just throw out there constantly and expect to play at a high level. Still playing well for us overall this year. Not saying anything negative about him, but understand what he is and understand that, no, he is not going to be replacing Devin Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon is an infinitely better player, and he brings so many more things to the table. And of course, we have Nehemiah Pritchett, who, according to PFR, wasn't quite as bad as he was on PFF. I think they had him getting targeted 4 times for 4 completions for 57 yards, which is still very bad. I think PFF had it a little bit worse, though, so take that as you will. And 2 touchdowns, 153.7 QB rating when targeted. That's still really bad. We have problems. We got problems in this cornerback room. And I've talked about this a little bit before. It's not okay that Nehemiah Pritchett is this bad. Nehemiah Pritchett has been on this team for a year and a half. We spent a 5th-round pick on him. He should be able to go out there and play competently. Maybe not well, but he shouldn't be unplayable. If he's this bad, then he shouldn't have made the team. And it's not like he was drafted under Carroll. No, he was drafted when McDonald was here. He was drafted when Aiden Byrd was here. So it's really not okay for Pritchett to be this unplayable. So that's frustrating because you had the whole offseason to evaluate, and it feels like you didn't get the evaluation on this dude right. Julian Love did not play. Kobe Bryant, according to PFR, did not get targeted once in this game, which is interesting. I don't think that's too removed from reality, but I know PFF had him get targeted at least once. Nick Emmanwori, though, 4 targets, 13 yards. And by the way, pretty much all the completions he gave up were in the backfield. Negative 16 air yards, 26 yards after catch. Yeah, I'm totally cool with that. There were a lot of people who thought that maybe Emmanwori would get punished for some of his bad plays in this game, or not his bad plays, but some of the soft zone completions he allowed, but not really. This isn't even 4 yards a target. This is just over 3 yards a target. I can live with that all day. And finally, we got Ty Okada. He got targeted 5 times in this game. Let me make sure I get the numbers right. Yeah, 3 completions, so not the end of the world. And we're talking about 40 yards. 40 yards. QB rating 142.3. Still very bad. Still not really a player we want out there, but it is what it is. We're stuck. Okay, so that is going to do it for this week. Pretty bad, pretty bad. There's not a lot of good stuff here, but there's not going to be when Baker Mayfield slices you up like that. So what are you going to do? You're going to just, you're going to lose most of the time when you allow this stuff to happen. All right, more videos coming later, streaming with the Hawks Nest in like 3 hours. Everybody have a good day. Go Hawks.